Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. Today I just wanted to do just another quick video on something I put in almost a year ago, actually. I just never got around doing a video. And you guys know, if you subscribe to my channel, that I'll always put up videos about watches and electronics and reviews of my cars and stuff like that. Basically, I just do anything I can give you information on as far as a product review, or you guys know I love the watches, so I'm always putting up watch reviews and showing you what those watches look like on the wrist. But I also am pretty handy when it comes to a lot of things, and I like to share things that I've done around the house and inspire people to maybe come up with ideas. I mean, when I have an idea to do something, I always check the internet and see if somebody else has done something similar and kind of get some ideas. And what I did here, I wanted to show you my built-in dry bar in my home. Now, the difference between a dry bar and a wet bar, and actually a wet bar has a sink. Now, I had some really great ideas just when I first started off, and I might make a couple additions to this. But what I had was this closet here, and it had basically a split bifold door that was right here, okay, and it came up to right around here, okay, and it had two shelves in here. It was just kind of a waste of space. I never actually really used it for anything. As a single guy, I like to have a drink once in a while. I like my beer. Which I'll do another review on the Insignia kegerator that I also put in the garage. So check that one out as well. But I wanted to just do something different with this closet. And I started looking, I'm really into homes and really like to look at house.com and those kind of websites and get some ideas for things about decorating. I'm really into that kind of stuff. And I said, it would be really cool to have like some kind of display here, and a bar is something I've always wanted to have. Now, I don't really drink hard alcohol. I just like my beer, and but it's always nice to be able to have, if one of your friends stops by or somebody comes over, you can offer them a drink. I think it's just really classy to have something like that. And this closet was just not getting used. I had a broom in there and a vacuum, and just a couple things on the shelves. Now, I could have converted into a shoe closet or whatnot, but at the time I was single. Now I am in a relationship with a lovely woman who I love very much that has a lot of shoes, so maybe that would have been the better approach. But it's done. What's done is done, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And this closet was actually too shallow. It could have been used as a pantry, but it was just kind of in a weird spot, and I have enough room in the kitchen for that kind of stuff, and I just wanted something that's going to be a really nice focal point, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money. And the actual closet is pretty shallow. I mean, you're really only looking at, I believe, 18 inches in depth here. And so what I did is I wanted to do a budget dry bar, and naturally your kitchen cabinets, as you can see, are about 36 inches long. So that was going to be too deep to put in there with anything prefab. And of course, now your upper cabinets, they're a lot shallower. Of course, they're designed to be upper cabinets, okay? So what I did is I put this in for under 200 bucks. And it was really, really simple. And if you have any kind of skill or you're handy in any way, this is definitely something you can do. And I'm going to walk you through basically what I did. What I first did was rip out the shelves that were in there. I had two shelves. I ripped those out and repaired the sheetrock behind it and repainted the closet. Then I went ahead and purchased from Home Depot two of these standard. They were just, I wanted them in the dark color. You can get them in, I also toyed with getting them in white, but they were like twice the price if you got them, that in either a walnut color or like a dark ebony or white. So what I did is I just went with the plain oak ones because you're only going to see the face. And then what I did, these are the upper cabinets. So these only ran me, I think these are only about $100 for two. And each one is actually a cabinet. It's not one piece. So what I did is I went ahead and down beneath here, I took the molding that was in the back of the closet, I pulled it off and I saved it, okay? And then what I did is I took some 2x4s and I made a frame that basically had the distance of what your normal cabinet would have, like this, the overhang on the standard cabinets. I went ahead and made a frame, and then I screwed down these cabinets to the top of that frame. Now naturally I screwed the frame to the wall, into the studs using a stud finder so the frame is supported and it's not going to move around. And then of course the cabinets, I drilled those into the frame I made out of 2x4s right down here and gave it that overhang. So it actually looks like it's just a very shallow standard countertop. I went ahead and added some hardware. These were the cheapest ones I could find. They're about $3. You can see the interior is still that oak color, but it's on the inside. Who cares? Went ahead and mounted those, but not before I went ahead and got just some dark, brown espresso color paint, and I painted them. And on these I used a foam brush, and you want to use a foam brush because that's going to try to minimize the amount of lines you're going to have. Now, if you have the ability to spray it, that's always your best option. But I did not, when I gutted this place, I did spray the kitchen cabinets because everything was out of here. But in this case, I just went ahead and hand painted them. I didn't paint the sides. I was able to put them in there perfectly. And what worked out was the cabinets, the width of this closet just happened to be exactly what the cabinets were when you put two of them side by side. And basically what I did is I put one cabinet in, screwed it down, then went ahead and took the other cabinet in. And I did have to kind of like buzz down the sheetrock just a little bit there to get it in, but once it got in there, it was an absolute perfect fit. It couldn't have worked out better. So naturally, I'm not really sure if this closet is your standard closet width, but I'm looking at the other closet here. It just kind of depends on your situation. But for me, it worked out where I was able to buy those cabinets and they just worked perfectly. Now, if I ran into a situation where that wasn't the case, they do make several different sizes of these cabinets, and you might be able to piece something together. Let's say you had something that was maybe a little narrower. Maybe you had a closet that was, maybe half of this width right here. Maybe you could do one of these and then build like some shelves. Who knows, you could maybe find I toyed with the idea of actually putting a wine rack in, but I didn't have the depth because all the wine coolers that you can get are actually too deep to fit in here. So if you had a situation with a deeper closet, I would definitely, I would have done the same thing. I would have put in a wine cooler in there. But in my situation, that just happened to work. I basically was able to get two standard cabinets in here and make it look like a countertop like you'd find in your kitchen, okay? So again, your situation may be different, but just because your situation isn't, if you want to do something like this, you don't have the exact width that I have, you can still do something where you can get maybe like I said, a wider cabinet and maybe do some shelves or whatever. It's not that difficult to go ahead and, work with wood, especially when you're going to be painting it. It's pretty straightforward. But again, not to repeat myself again, but in my situation, it just happened to work out where I believe I had 36 inches in width, I believe is what it is. Don't quote me on that. So then for the countertop, I didn't want to do anything like tile. I didn't want to do anything like small tile. I don't really want to get involved in anything that was going to be too time consuming and expensive for that matter. So I toyed with the idea of doing like a concrete countertop, and what I ended up doing was I went to Home Depot and I found I think they're 18 by 18. These are glazed porcelain tiles. And again, the width was perfect. The only thing was that they were actually too deep to put in here, so 18 inches would overhang the actual cabinets. So what I did is I took them down to Lowe's, and they were nice enough. Home Depot didn't have the tile cutter, so Lowe's is nice enough to say, hey, just come on down. We'll cut those as a courtesy for you. So they went ahead and just cut off a little bit from the back. I believe it was about maybe 2 inches, and then that was going to be the perfect size to actually fit on top of the cabinet. Then I went ahead and used that piece for a backsplash. As far as how I glued them down, I just used basically some industrial strength. I forget the exact stuff I used. It wasn't silicone. It was like an industrial strength, like a paver glue, or block build. When you're building a retaining wall, you can use that stuff. That worked fine for me. And then I went ahead and I just used a paintable caulk right around the edges. You can see, obviously, it's not perfect, but there's a little bit of a gap. But I mean, who cares? I mean, I'm very happy with the result. And then, of course, I went ahead and caulked the back. So this is very stable. Of course, before doing all this, there was an outlet that I need to put in. So I wanted to have lighting in this whole thing. You can see you get some blue glowing lights and some blue glowing lights in the bottom. And what I did is I wanted to have, again, a couple outlets. So I went ahead and put an outlet up on top, in the middle, and then for this lower lighting, there's a hole drilled in the back of this cabinet, okay? And then there's actually a box on the inside of this closet. Now, in order to get that in there, I was either going to tap into this particular wall switch from the back, but what I did was on the back of, and again, your situation may be different, and guys, this is really easy, cheap stuff. On the back of the closet, there is a outlet on the adjacent wall. So all I did was basically drill a hole in the back of the box. Once I pulled the outlet off, of course, turn off your power, folks. I basically found out where I wanted to put the box, which is, in this case, roughly right down here. I drilled a hole through there, and what I did is I just daisy chained them all together. So because this is interior walled, in my case there is no insulation like most homes, I went ahead, cut out the box, and the boxes are actually really simple. I'll go ahead, really easy to use. I'll go ahead and show you what the ones I used. Let me go into the garage here real quick. Now, you guys know I get a couple comments sometimes. People say, you're never prepared for your videos. Well, that's because these are basic, everyday guy videos. I'm not a professional actor or recorder, folks. So basically, this is the box I used. And it's really simple. Once you basically score the sheetrock or trace it out for the size of the box, pretty straightforward. I'm sure you can Google other videos on how to put an electrical box. It just has these tabs. And what you do is you fold these tabs down, you put the box in, you screw them down, and as you're screwing this down, these tabs pop up and they take a bite between the box and the sheetrock. Now, of course, you have to punch the back of the box out to run your, interior grade wire, your electrical wire. You can get at any Home Depot or Lowe's. And I basically just did that for the same box up there. And of course the one right over here, I just snaked the line down. I tapped into the outlets. Most of these outlets that you buy in stores will have 2 mounting points on there where you can actually daisy chain them all together. And basically I just used the power from the other box in the adjacent wall to connect them all together on one circuit, okay? Now as far as the shelving, this is a little bit of the tricky part because glass is pretty expensive. Well, I was lucky enough to actually find glass, and I'll put a link in the description to where I got this. That basically I got the perfect size glass. Again, I think it's about 36 inches, and it's not super thick. Now it's not going to support tons of weight, so you got to be a little careful with glass here. But in my case, I went ahead and just got some very inexpensive, and you can, the sky's the limit as far as what brackets you want to use. I wanted to keep this very budget friendly and very under $200, and I was able to do that, and the results turned out fantastic. I mean, it looks like I spent a lot more. And I just got some basically like garage L brackets. I went ahead and cut a piece of wood, mounted it to the wall here for some center support. Now, if you have a situation where maybe you got some very nice L brackets, you could do 3 of them. I just opted to do that, just one on the back, because it gives you the support I need in the middle. And of course, I did to each one, and then just put these shelves on there. The glass was probably about $50 for 3 pieces. The only negative thing I have to say about it is when I got the system on the house, these bottles tend to vibrate a little bit with the base, and they start to work themselves forward. So I'll have to do something with that, in the near future. But in the meantime, I just kind of check on them and make sure nothing's going to fall off the wall. As far as the lighting, at first I put in just that halogen light up there, and I put that in because I just had those left over, so you can actually turn it on with a switch up there. I had it hooked up to an X10 switch, or you can use a Wi-Fi controller, But I basically got that LED lighting off eBay, and that was about $10 for 2 strips. And this here works off an RF remote, very basic. I'll put the link in the description for this stuff on eBay. And this, you can control the color. I'll turn off the other light here so you can see what it looks like. So I can change the color of this bar to pretty much whatever I want. So and this, when I say the RF, this is radio frequency, so you don't have to actually mount a infrared sensor anywhere, which makes it a lot easier to control the light. So here, we'll just go ahead and change the color here. Now the thing is that these are both hooked up to the same exact controller, and so what happens is that they don't change color at the exact same time sometimes, so you have to kind of play with it. But we'll just go ahead and change the color. So you can see the lower one changed to green, and I'll press it down again to blue, and the upper one changed. So you kind of have to kind of hold this controller down low if you want to get the colors to match. But most of the time I just keep it on blue. I really like the blue. You can dim it down, you can dim it, you can lighten it. White is also a color I use quite a bit. You can also change this to do different flashing and speeds and all that kind of crazy stuff. I just keep it on the blue, and you can see how the lower one changed again. So I'm just going to come down here and change it back. So there you go. So now they're both blue again. And so you want to change the green, blue, whatever color you want, you can do that. And folks, like I said, there's lots of different options for LED lighting. I mean, I opted to go with something that was really inexpensive. I was on a budget. Like I said, I wanted to keep it under $200. And for $200, I mean, it really makes a very nice addition to the room. It really adds I think a real classiness to the room, and it's nice you can offer your friends or family a drink when they come over. And I don't know, I think it turned out really good. I just wanted to share that with you guys, give you guys a couple ideas. If you're looking to maybe convert a closet in your home that you don't use, this is a perfect way of doing that, to actually add something that's very visually appealing and interesting to look at. Who doesn't like a bar in your house? Unless, of course, you have kids, and then you might need to lock that up, maybe put a cage in the front or something like that. As far as the LED lighting is concerned also, this is before I got involved in the LIFX bulbs, which check out my other video review on those. They're basically Wi-Fi smart home bulbs, which they're much better than the LEDs, and they actually make strips that you can use for this, and you can set timers. And I'll check out my other video on the LIFX bulbs. Those ones there are, are pretty cool with being able to set the timers. You can see, I'll show you right there. I have a couple of them in the ceiling, and those you can change to a million different colors. I mean, the million different lighting. They're super bright and they're super high quality. So that's my video review, folks. If you have any questions on how I did this, if I didn't explain everything, if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. I'll put links in the description for where you can get the parts, such as the glass and, of course, the lighting. And, man, I mean, definitely, I hope that inspires somebody to maybe put in your own in-home dry bar. All right, thanks again for watching, folks. If you like the channel, subscribe. Have a great day.